My name is Germana Ravanelli. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, a mind-body healer, a personal trainer, a nutritional therapist. I was taught that health is harmonizing the body, the mind, and the spirit. Good day to you. My name is Germana Ravanelli. I am coming to you from Nanaimo, BC, and this video is all about what does self-betrayal look like? How does it show up in our lives, and how do we know if we're actually in a pattern of betraying ourselves? I know that sounds very weird, yet if you take a few moments and listen to some of the information here, you may discover that there are areas that you may, without knowing it, it's called being unconscious, betraying your own needs to get along with others. And the impact is significant. It does show up as illness, depression, anxiety, addiction, all of those things. If we're taught that our needs don't matter and we're always focusing on others and making their comfort more important than our safety or our stability, then we are basically self-destructing slowly. So acts of self-betrayal are many choices, habits, or omissions that go against our own best interests and our values. And I think the values are the most important thing. Like, one of my core values is certainty, which is code for being safe. So a lot of my behaviors are linked to safety, and that included fitness, that included eating well, that includes learning. So when I do not do those things, I'm in an act of self-betrayal. Also understanding what our inner truth is. And some people don't really know what their truth is. They have been modified or programmed, usually since childhood, to go, am I okay? Do you like me? Have I done the right thing? So that self-awareness or that self-governing has yet to be discovered or created. Self-betrayal can feel like a gnarling, sick feeling in your stomach. It can turn into a respiratory infection. It can turn into many, many things. And that's the body actually saying, I'm not okay. Sometimes our mind will just habitually do things to keep the peace. I think women are really, really programmed for that at the cost of our cell tissue and our health. So one of the examples here is saying yes when you mean no, just to keep the peace or avoid a conflict. And then later being unhappy or going, oh my God, I can't believe I actually said yes to this. And then finding a way to go. I've had some time to think about it. I need to change my mind, and I'm sorry if that upsets you, is one way to work around that. Ignoring your body's needs. This is really common for a lot of people in today's world. Skipping meals, not eating well, eating processed food to me is an act of self-betrayal. Overworking, again, that's often what a lot of people do. They're like, if I do this, then I'm safe. If I do this, then I have value. And yet it cannot all be about work. If it's all about work, then there's an imbalance. And sooner or later, there's a price to pay. And sometimes it's a nervous breakdown. Sometimes it's the only way that the person stops is by getting sick. And that's the subconscious going, okay, you didn't listen to your intuition. I've got an anvil for you, and you get smoked by getting unwell, sick. Sacrificing sleep for the sake of productivity or pleasing others. Many of us don't sleep enough. We need a nap. We don't take it. So in my experience, when we get enough sleep, I don't know about you, you usually feel great. That next day, you're like, I feel like a child again. I've got lots of energy. I've got lots of optimism. And so that's an indicator that your body is giving you feedback. Staying in harmful relationships out of fear of loneliness. And I think that one is universal. Most people stay too long, and it's because they think something might change. If I do this, something might change. And often people, they actually harm themselves. And that's an act of self-betrayal, of not telling themselves the truth. Like, I love this question, is this good for me? Does this bring me joy? And if a person checks in and just listens, then they know, okay, I am actually in a people-pleasing behavior, and the cost is what? And then when you stop doing that, then there's kind of an abruptness that comes. Now I don't have this situation to make me feel good, even though it was feeling bad. And then it's like, what does bring me joy, and moving in the direction of authenticity. Downplaying one's achievements so others won't feel threatened or uncomfortable. I know that when I went back into a competition when I was 52 and I won the whole show, I was so uncomfortable with other people's feelings and them feeling threatened by me that I had to go to a therapist before I could say I was proud of myself. That was how frail my self-esteem was at that time in my life. And I realized that I had been taught, and I had agreed to pretend that what I did wasn't really cool and wasn't a really big deal. And eventually I blew up the pictures and put them as posters in my studio, because at 52, I went into a show. I won the whole show. I think I came home with 5 giant trophies and a whole bunch of swag. And I was worried that other people were going to be threatened, instead of me going, man, you did a great job. So I share this from my own history. Breaking your own boundaries after you've clearly set them. So say if you're texting and you say to someone, I don't text after such and such time, and they keep texting you, and then you respond, that's an act of you betraying your own needs for privacy or safety or security. Also, if someone says something and they don't keep it, and then they're trying to push you, and you don't loop back and go, well, this was our agreement, that's an act of self-betrayal as well. Betraying your values to gain short-term approval or avoid rejection. I think particularly in, let's just be silly and true, the world of online dating is pretty awful. I will say that point blank. And a lot of people on those platforms are fishing for someone who is easy for them to get what they want. And self-betrayal looks like going along with it to hope that if you give them what they want, they might give you what you want. And that's a high form of manipulation, and it also does not work. I remember a while ago I had a fellow who was posing one way and then really just wanted sex. And I was like, I don't do that with someone I don't know. And he was very dishonest in his presentation. And I was like, absolutely not. That is not who I am. This is my famous saying, I'm not auditioning for a job with my vagina to make somebody else comfortable at my expense. And so that's an example of just having a real clear boundary. And some people will break that boundary and then have a lot of regret later. Silencing your voice when something matters deeply to you. And again, if you've been traumatized, you've learned not to speak up. And so empaths usually don't speak up. They're more worried about other people versus themselves. And the most important thing is to have compassion for yourself. And if you don't speak up, it's okay, but don't pretend that, that your needs don't matter, or don't pretend that you don't know what you know inside, and just own it. You don't have to say anything, but you can remove yourself from a group of people that is not good for you. Maybe you've outgrown them. Maybe they're toxic. You can basically just remove yourself from situations that are not good for you. If you don't want to speak about it, that's okay, but you can have actions that protect you. Chasing validation instead of living in alignment with what's right for you. I think this is huge at this time in the world, particularly with this whole digital world. We're all like, we want likes, we want subscribes. I want subscribes, but I'm not going to turn myself inside and out to get them. You do your best and you let go. I know a lady who I just absolutely really respect, and this woman cannot stop posting pictures of herself as nude as possible on one of the platforms. And I look at her and I'm like, I love you and you're beautiful, and clearly you need somebody to acknowledge that you're beautiful because you don't see it, or you need somebody to chase you online. And that's a childhood wound. I don't feel good enough. I don't feel significant. Instead of just being a little bit more modest and recognizing that you are beautiful, you are enough. You don't need other people's recognition. Avoiding your own dreams or passions because of fear, guilt, or a sense of unworthiness. I think that is behind a lot of people being sick. Remember that when you have a need and you don't get it met, it hurts you. And a lot of people don't even know what their needs are. And when I'm in a place of, say, I have pain in my body, I go, what is my body asking for? Often it's asking for comfort, which is wanting to feel safe, protected, validated. And I'll just bring that in as a nest of things for myself. But if you wait until you get really sick, you have neglected and betrayed yourself for a long time, and you've normalized self-abandonment, which self-betrayal and self-abandonment are interchangeable. And then the amends piece is, if I were to know what my body needs, what would it be? And often it's love. If you could give love to yourself, would that be safe? If you could treat yourself like someone that's important and that they matter, then all of a sudden the speaking up piece comes naturally, because then you go, oh, my needs are, I need good food, I need good water, I need some exercise, I need connection, I need to know that I matter. Well, if you were to start to give that to yourself in your relationship to yourself, you would get those buckets filled, and then your health would improve drastically. And then when someone comes in, knock, 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 can I take some of your time? You might say, well, not right now, but maybe in 2 hours I have time to chat with you, or I have time to connect with you. But that you consider yourself first. And I think that is the best pattern interrupt. Am I considering my own needs as a way of interrupting the pattern of self-betrayal? And I'm just going to thank you for watching. If you've watched to the end, if you like this, thank you. Feel invited to leave a comment in an area that you have stopped betraying yourself, or an area that you're going to start rescuing or caring for yourself in a deep and meaningful way. Thank you for your time.